transparency is a huge political advantage.
How in the world can this be HIPAA compliant? Which HIPAA is designed to protect the patient's privacy, and this explicitly says in order to continue, you have to accept this condition that you have no privacy or no reasonable expectation of privacy.
3 different people were given access to her account, her address, and her Social Security number.
And John Kerry said, no, we're going to tax your health insurance. We're going to tax those evil insurance companies. We're going to impose a tax that if they sell health insurance that's too expensive, we're going to tax them. And conveniently, the tax rate will happen to be the marginal tax rate under the income tax code. So basically, it's the same thing. We just tax the insurance companies. They pass it on higher prices. That offsets the tax break we get. It ends up being the same thing. It's a very clever, basically exploitation of the lack of economic understanding of the American voter.
Well, first off, the bill has 10 years of tax increases, about $500 billion, with 10 years of Medicare cuts, about $500 billion, to pay for 6 years of spending.
We will keep this promise to the American people. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period.
But for the average person, many of folks who don't have health insurance initially, they're going to have to make some choices, and they might end up having to switch doctors, in part because they're saving money.
The Supreme Court is going to take that case, and the question is, are they going to stick to the way it was written, or are they going to rewrite it?
That the interesting thing about the bill, all 2,000 pages of it, it's a gigantic blank check.
Their insurance is stronger, better, more secure than it was before.
Premiums go up. Employers not going to want to pay those premiums. They're going to pass on as much as possible to the employee.
We said, well, that's pretty much the same thing. But why does it matter? I said, you'll see. And they were both in that passed. Because the American voters are too stupid to understand the difference. It's real cost control that we know it'll work. Go after this. Now, the problem is it's a political nightmare. And people say, no, you can't tax my benefits. It feels like. So what we did a lot in that room was think about, how could we make this work? And Obama was like, he's really a realistic guy. He's like, look, I can't just do this. He said, it's just not going to happen politically. The bill will not pass. How do we manage to get there through phase-ins and other things? And we talked about it. And he was just very interested in that topic. And once again, that ultimately became the genesis of what's called the Cadillac tax in the healthcare bill, which I think is one of the most important and bravest parts of the healthcare law, and doesn't get nearly enough credit. Lack of transparency is a huge political advantage. And basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever. But basically, that was really, really critical to getting the thing to pass.
At your Burma town hall a couple days ago, you tried to inspire young leaders by saying governments need to be held accountable and be responsive to the people. I wonder how you square that with your former advisor, Jonathan Gruber, claiming you were not transparent about the health law because, in his words, the American people, the voters, are stupid. Did you mislead Americans about the taxes, about keeping your plan, in order to get the bill passed?
No, I did not. I just heard about this. I get well briefed before I come out here. The fact that some advisor who never worked on our staff expressed an opinion that I completely disagree with in terms of the voters is no reflection on the actual process that was run. We had a year-long debate, Ed. I mean, go back and look at the stories. The one thing we can't say is that we did not have a lengthy debate about health care in the United States of America, or that it was not adequately covered. I mean, I would just advise every press outlet here, go back and pull up every clip, every story, and I think it's fair to say that there was not a provision in the health care law that was not extensively debated and was fully transparent. Now, there were folks who disagreed with some of these various positions. It was a tough debate.
It's just, you can't do it politically. You just literally cannot do it. Okay? Transparent financing, unless I have transparent financing, also transparent spending. I mean, this bill was written in a tortured way to make sure CBO did not score the mandate as taxes. If CBO scored the mandate as taxes, the bill dies. Okay? So it's written to do that. In terms of risk-rated subsidies, if you had a law which said healthy people are going to pay in, it made explicit that healthy people pay in and sick people get money, it would not have passed. Okay, just like lack of transparency is a huge political advantage. And basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever. But basically, that was really, really critical to getting the thing to pass. And, it's the second best argument. Look, I wish Mark was right. We can make it all transparent. But I'd rather have this law than not. So it's kind of like his reporter story. There's things I wish I could change, but I'd rather have this law than not.
So first of all, you haven't publicly commented on this so far. Do you stand by the comments in that video?
The comments in the video were made at an academic conference. I was speaking off the cuff. And
another Massachusetts hero, John Kerry, more like the staff, came up with a great substitute idea. They said, look, what you economics nerds want to do is you want to say that for people with expensive health insurance plans, they will no longer get a 40% tax break. What if we instead just levied a 40% tax on the insurance companies that sell these terrible expensive Cadillac plans? We said, well, that's pretty much the same thing. So why does it matter? I said, you'll see. And they were both in, and that passed. Because the American voter is too stupid to understand the difference. Okay? So basically,
I was speaking off the cuff.
Until the second Massachusetts hero arose, John Kerry. And John Kerry said, no, we're going to tax your health insurance. We're going to tax those evil insurance companies. We're going to impose a tax that if they sell health insurance that's too expensive, we're going to tax them. And conveniently, the tax rate will happen to be the marginal tax rate under the income tax code. So basically, it's the same thing. We just tax the insurance companies. They pass it on higher prices. That offsets the tax break we get. It ends up being the same thing. It's a very clever, basic exploitation of the lack of economic understanding of the American voter. Okay?
I was speaking off the cuff.
Lack of transparency is a huge political advantage. And basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever. And they were both in, and that passed. Because the American voter is too stupid to understand the difference.
So, Rich, when you see that, what's your reaction to it?
It's actually kind of surreal because for a long time I was the only one that knew it existed.
In the last few weeks, literally millions of people have seen these videos and heard the story. But almost no one has met the man responsible for it all.
Breaking tonight, explosive new video coming to light from one of the architects of Obamacare.
A third video of Obamacare architect, Professor Jonathan Gruber, bashing the American voter and bragging about deceiving them.
The American voter is too stupid to understand the difference.
What? How? What?
And now, in his first on-camera interview, the man who found the Jonathan Gruber videos and uncovered what he calls the hidden truths behind Obamacare talks to Project Veritas about his discoveries and how they will impact every American.
If you've got health care already, then you can keep your plan if you are satisfied with it.
If you like the plan you have, you can keep it.
I intend to keep this promise. If you like your health care plan, you'll be able to keep your health care plan.
If you like your plan and your doctor,
you can keep your doctor, you can keep your plan.
You like your current insurance, you keep that insurance. Period.
When the president said if you like your plan, you can keep your plan, period, it kind of made me think that the law wasn't going to impact me. But then I lost my health insurance. That made me think, what the heck's going on? And I became more engaged in the law because I knew it was going to impact me at that point.
Rich is self-employed, and like millions of Americans, he has seen his health care insurance costs skyrocket. He believes it is because of Obamacare, the lies and hidden agendas buried in this massive piece of legislation. This is a copy of the actual law that was signed by President Obama back in 2010.
Why don't you want to be public? Why don't you want to show your face?
Well, I don't think my face should be the face of what's going on. I'm just finding stuff, and I just want people to know what I found and how it's going to impact them. I just want the American people to know what's going on.
Rich started his quest by extensively searching the web and reading a lot about the Affordable Care Act. And then he discovered this guy, MIT economist and Obamacare architect Jonathan Gruber. Gruber literally wrote the book on Obamacare. Rich found videos of Gruber giving seminars and talking to students and saying things that he now definitely regrets.
Jonathan Gruber played a large role in Romneycare, in helping form Romneycare. He and some of his Romneycare associates basically went up and down from Boston to Washington and helped form the Affordable Care Act.
What's important to remember politically about this is if you're a state and you don't set up an exchange, that means your citizens don't get their tax credits.
What Rich heard from Mr. Gruber was the real agenda and consequences of Obamacare. His mission now is to make sure people understand that this law will impact every American, and that every American, in spite of President Obama's assurances, will have changes in their health care insurance plans. For some it will be good, but for many others, their coverage will be a lot more expensive.
And the only way we could take it on was first by mislabeling it, calling it a tax on insurance plans rather than a tax on people, and we all know it's really a tax on people who hold those insurance plans.
So what was Gruber talking about there?
From the very beginning, what I understood was they were trying to destroy the tax break people get when you get company-sponsored insurance. And instead of overtly repealing that tax break, they used this Cadillac tax. So they mislabeled it. First they mislabeled it by making it sound like it only applies to expensive plans, and eventually it hits almost every plan.
The Congressional Budget Office, or CBO as it is known, says roughly 156 million Americans have employment-based insurance coverage. Rich believes that with Obamacare, nearly all of those people will ultimately either lose that coverage or pay a lot more for it.
This bill was written in a tortured way to make sure CBO did not score the mandate as taxes. If CBO scored the mandate as taxes, the bill dies. Okay? So it's written to do that. Lack of transparency is a huge political advantage. And basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever.
What did Gruber mean by lack of transparency? What is the lack of transparency here?
Well, the lack of transparency is the idea, to me, that they wanted to get at that tax break for employer-sponsored plans. It's a $250 billion number per year of lost revenue going to the Treasury.
Rich says his discoveries of Gruber's off-the-cuff videos prove the hidden agenda behind Obamacare. By poisoning employer-sponsored health care plans, the government is making a $250 billion a year tax grab.
How did you first find this video, and when you found it, was it like a eureka moment to you?
When they kept repeating the idea of that tax break, the $250 billion per year, and it showed up in every video I saw of Dr. Gruber, it kind of struck me as this is a tax grab. That's what this is. They're going after the tax break.
You saw the clip and you just started sending it right away to people you thought might be interested?
And nobody would listen to me. So it was just me. It was me and my computer and my iPad, and nobody would listen to me. And I had all this great stuff explaining what was going on, and nobody would listen to me.
Finally, Rich posted on a Washington Post comment page about the videos he had discovered, and someone noticed, and now the whole country has noticed.
So you essentially broke this video in the comment section of the Washington Post. And what do you think that says about our media and our state of journalism?
We've got some real problems. And actually, most people who I tried to reach out to, many of them have contacted me back, and they've all said, yeah, we missed this.
The videos caused such an uproar that last week a House committee called Dr. Gruber to Washington.
Are you stupid?
I don't think so, no.
Does MIT employ stupid people?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, so you're a smart man who said some, as the ranking member said, some really stupid things, and you said the same. Is that correct?
The comments I made were really inexcusable.
So, do you think Jonathan Gruber is stupid?
I've been using the word brilliant. It's maybe not in the best way, but there's some brilliance as to how this thing was put together.
This is Tom Rice from South Carolina talking about the shifting of the costs.
You also said that if the people had known, if the taxpayers, the stupid American taxpayers, had recognized that we were shifting costs from healthy people to unhealthy people, you said that the law wouldn't have passed. Do you still believe that?
That was once again my trying to pretend I'm something I'm not.
So, can you explain how they were shifting these costs?
At the hearing, there was another witness at the table, and he explained that he had a pre-existing condition, and his premiums actually were cut in half. And on the other hand, my family has no pre-existing conditions, and my premiums doubled. So what you have is, I refer to it as the redistribution of health. So they took my health, and they applied it to his health. My premiums double, his were cut in half.
So here's another clip.
Fortunately for me, I voted against it to begin with. I voted against the Affordable Care Act because, unlike some people, I actually sat down and read it. And it was one of the most complex bills that I have ever read. And I had a full staff helping me with questions on that. How do I fix this?
So the congressman is asking, how does he as a legislator fix this? Rich, how do we fix this?
I have no freaking idea how to fix this.